it's really important, and this is one of the, and maybe some in the space would disagree with me, but I look at this kinds of technology as just another rail. And so it should be leveraged by aid organizations in the locations that make the most sense for it. And in this scenario, why Ukraine is a perfect location for it is even prior to the war, we were working with President Zelensky and his administration because they wanted to move to a cashless society. They were actually contemplating, we were working on a pilot for them, with them on a CBDC. They've since transformed that into digitizing deposits and bank deposits, and so they're moving to what's called the TPN, a transparent network, privacy network. But from that standpoint, and there's also a lot of folks there who have smartphones. You can actually use the same technology on a feature phone, but who have smartphones and are comfortable leveraging that. So it was the perfect situation for this kind of technology to be used there by the UNHCR. We were able to start working with the UNHCR in February, right after the conflict started, the war started there, and we actually launched by December, so less than a year, they were able to launch this product into market. The learnings that we had is it's really important, particularly from the UNHCR side, that this not be about crypto. And the truth is, this is not about crypto. This is about blockchain technology and the usefulness of the tech stack itself. And so the wallet that they leverage for this particular, for aid distribution, is a wallet that you can send and receive assets. This is a stable coin. It's using Circle's USDC asset. So you can receive that asset, and then you can send it to the MoneyGram locations, or you can send it to your bank account once you've received it. But it was really important to them that you don't have it then be this space where you go off and buy a bunch of crypto. So we closed down parts of the wallet to make it so that you could only do the send and receive functionality, and that was a really important piece for them. I think that what I loved about this is that not only was the UNHCR able to work so quickly to make this happen on their end, it's using those open source tools that was able to help, that not only were we working with them to make it better, but there were thousands of people contributing to make sure that the code base was secure. And so this is what the beautiful thing about all of this coming together. In the UNHCR situation, it's again coming up on a year, thousands and thousands of recipients they receive on a weekly basis. It's not my story to tell the numbers that they've sent, but it's significant, and they're now expanding into other regions.
Welcome to the Crypto Teacher. And you know I come back with that video just to make you think.
Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.
And make sure you join the Patrons. If you're not a part of the Patrons, make sure you're hitting the Cash App. And we have Stellar's Danielle telling us the plan. Yes, working with Zelensky. And we know when the drums are beating, the last thing people are worried about is a payment system. So that's the reason why you know there's always a hidden agenda. What did she say? They're looking at going to a cashless society. They were working on a CBDC, and their wallet sends and receives USDC and is closed from buying any other cryptos. Yes, you heard that correct. A closed-off wallet. So we know the real use cases are already there. They already know this technology works. What are they waiting on, guys? That crisis to get us moved over. And we have Circle going after Tether. And we know Tether has been buying up U.S. Treasuries, which eventually is going to come bite them. But Cantor Fitzgerald, and I'm not going to talk too much about it, but if you look at the connections to 9/11, that's all I'm going to say. But we know that Tether movie is right around the corner. And then, guys, we have Fed Jerome Powell, no rate hikes yet. And we know the stock market kept breaking new highs, crypto's up, because what Jerome Powell stated, now he wants to take it back. And we see commercial property crisis is right around the corner because we have all this debt and these high interest rates is definitely going to come bite. But remember, this is part of the plan. We're in a fragmented world. They have to break up this whole economy in order to bring the fourth industrial revolution forward. And a part of the fourth industrial revolution is changing the energy. And that's all we keep hearing is that we're going to have issues with our energy grid. So you know the crypto teacher is going to tell you to make sure you're getting yourself prepared. Because every time you turn around, we're having outages for no reason. Now only 1% of the 1% of these cryptos are going to survive. And they're going to use crypto to take the blame for the fall of these small and medium-sized banks. We've seen the movie before. And guys, we have OpenAI Sora is definitely unbelievable. And this is the next step to the metaverse. And we have Hollywood actors, artists, singers, they all have a price. So we know eventually they're going to sell. We know that was the whole point of them going to Hollywood, so therefore they can make millions of dollars. If you're offered $100 million for your catalog, most likely you're going to give it up. And like she states in that video, it's all about greed and getting rid of humanity out of the field. And remember, they're going to do this to every sector in the economy. I know it sounds like a movie, but remember, your life is an illusion and TV is your reality. And remember, the crypto teacher told you, because he knows when it comes to the NWO, it's all planned out. You have a wonderful day.
Some of those companies that you just mentioned have U.S. touch points, and I think that the U.S. government should ensure that it's using its authorities when there are those U.S. touch points. If Treasury feels like it doesn't have the authorities, I know that it sent a number of proposals to Congress late last year around expanding their authorities to cover some of those activities. I personally believe that no company should be allowed to reference the U.S. dollar without having those democratic values inside the company, inside their U.S. dollar-backed stablecoin. And so I think if Treasury thinks that it needs additional authorities to go over that, then I think this committee should consider that.
So to those U.S. touch points, U.S. financial services company Cantor Fitzgerald reportedly manages Tether's $72 billion portfolio of Treasury bonds, giving him access to U.S. dollars. Cantor's enabling of terror and illicit activities across the globe is unacceptable. Ms. Hill, given Tether's nexus to the U.S. financial system through Cantor Fitzgerald, does Treasury already have the authority to take action? And what should we be doing about American-regulated companies like Cantor?
I would think that the Treasury Department would have the authority to take action given this U.S. touch point, yes. And I hope that they're looking at this seriously, given Tether's reputation as well as the data that we've seen, that they're contributing to terrorist financing and other malign activities.
So we're going to be data dependent. We're going to be looking at this meeting by meeting. Based on the meeting today, I would tell you that I don't think it's likely that the committee will reach a level of confidence by the time of the March meeting to identify March as the time to do that. But that's to be seen. So I wouldn't call, when you ask me about in the near term, I'm hearing that as March. I would say I don't think it's probably not the most likely case or what we would call the base case. Then your second.
The risks of commercial real estate loans on bank balance sheets.
$1.4 trillion of commercial real estate debt coming due in the next 18 months.
On the other hand, the administration makes it almost impossible to permit anything in any reasonable amount of time. And so I think that the regional grid is in trouble in the next 2 years. Not natural gas, but power. And I think that certain states are going to look like third world nations with their power prices, given the fact that the infrastructure is not coming in time to match the growth and the demand.
Between $35 and $45 billion of funds are still tied up in crypto bankruptcies. That's according to a February 15th estimate from Xclaim. Now, some of the companies that went under in the industry's 2022 meltdown are emerging from bankruptcy.
All these different companies tied back to 3AC, and so when 3AC went bust, it really set a clock for the rest of them.
What the heck is this going to mean for Hollywood?
Well, like I started saying about a year ago, there's a series of things that are going to occur. And if people go to credo23.com/AI in film, they can see the list of things. And you can start checking things off. Yeah, that's fake. It's not, it's beyond fake. That is an amalgamation of a bunch of images and footage that they stole from artists. Plain and simple, generative AI is complete and utter theft. And it's being used by people who are trying to increase their profit margins and get rid of the overhead of using humans. A bunch of material, a bunch of data. So you want to write a book, it's got to consume a bunch of books. And it's like putting it into a blender and it chops it up and gives you a Frankenstein spoonful based on your prompt. So all the films that have ever been done, all the books that have ever been written, all the music that's ever been made, that's all put in there. every video you guys ever posted online of your family, all the pictures, all the legal work that anybody's done in a law office. It's all put into these blenders and spits this out. So this is complete theft, and it's being perpetrated by people who want to just make a lot of money and not have to pay any, labor overhead.
Musician Rod Stewart has sold his song catalog to Iconic Artists, a group, for nearly $100 billion. This is a Wall Street Journal report that said that the sale includes Stewart's interest in his publishing catalog, his recorded music, and some name and likeness rights, maybe that hair style. At the same time, Iconic said it had raised more than $1 billion in new capital for future catalog investments led by private investment firm HPS Investment Partners. And Iconic's roster, if you don't know, of artists' rights include the Beach Boys, Cher, Dean Martin, and Linda Ronstadt.
Wow. Going to a different economy, and we're going to be learning more about that as we go. But clearly, we're learning that things can be done from remote locations. We're learning that technology can replace people even more than we thought.
We're not going back to the same economy. We're recovering, but to a different economy, and it'll be one that is more leveraged to technology. And I worry that that is going to make it even more difficult than it was for many workers.
In Silicon Valley, and my friends who work in technology know that what we did to the manufacturing workers, we are now going to do to the retail workers, the call center workers, the fast food workers, the truck drivers, and then even bookkeepers, accountants, insurance agents, lawyers, and on through the economy. So what happened to the manufacturing workers is a very clear sign.
And so we'll import Chinese-based CBDC technology. So it's going to be CBDC in a box provided to you by the People's Bank of China.
But every stock, every bond, every currency, every commodity, every piece of art, every private business, every piece of real estate will eventually be a token on a blockchain, an entry on a ledger, permanent and immutable. We will have truth instead of trust, and we will save over $7 trillion a year. 6 to 8% of global GDP is wasted by the friction of the trust industry that's necessary when you have dual entry accounting. With triple entry accounting, which is what a blockchain is, we get rid of all of that friction. It's a beautiful future.
Like what you see in China and their social credit scoring systems, right? If we get identity wrong, it could be a tool to enslave humanity. And if we get it right, it could be a tool to liberate humanity. And as an American, I'm obviously rooting for the one that's on the side of freedom.
Bitcoin is an international asset. And also, I do believe the role of crypto is, it's digitizing gold.
I actually believe this technology is going to be very important. Look at it. We have been part of the huge revolution in investing through ETFs. We believe that ETFs will be changing the whole way we invest. Many people still use it as a means, people are investing it for indexing. No, the majority of people who are putting money in in ETFs are active investors that are buying exposure. The entire bond market is being transformed as we talk right now. I believe the next generation for markets, the next generation for securities will be tokenization of securities. And if we can have that distributed ledger that we know every beneficial owner, every beneficial seller, we all have our code of who's buying, who's selling, instantaneous settlement. And think about it, it changes the whole ecosystem.
Chinese bank ICBC has been hit by a ransomware attack, and the U.S. Treasury market, as a result of that, has been disrupted. This, according to the Financial Times. We're getting more right now with Bloomberg's Shonali Bassick. Shonali, what do we know?
Listen, we have the Financial Times now reporting that ICBC, one of China's largest banks here, was hit with a ransomware attack. And remember, they're a very significant intermediary in the Treasury market. The SIFMA has told told his members that this has been part of the reason here that the system is kind of clogged up, if you will, during that auction that we saw a little bit before. The attack had prevented ICBC, according to the Financial Times, from settling Treasury trades on behalf of other market participants. A large executive at a major bank also telling the paper that such a large party on the fixed income clearing corp creates major concerns, potentially impacting the liquidity of Treasury markets. Now,
it was not just a poor auction. It was absolutely lousy. And you know, when the dealers have to step in to save a Treasury auction, that's a rare occurrence. And
Cryptoteacher and the New World Order book, plus the 3 Kids books. It's time to re-educate. Also, new to cryptos, Coinbase, Bitrue, Binance. Do not forget book links and crypto links are in the description. The stock channel, guys. Don't forget to go like, subscribe, spread everywhere. You have your Kobo, your chip stocks, your banking, your gaming. While everybody's sitting at home, get on stocks, the Xrp, the biotech stocks. And while everybody's at home wishing they were still getting that free money, what they doing? Drinking and smoking weed. Don't forget about those stocks, and you have a wonderful day. The most powerful person in the world is the storyteller. The storyteller sets the vision, values, and agenda of an entire generation to come. Steve Jobs. And guys, you know I truly believe in this. When you look at the New World Order, they're the storytellers. And that's the reason why I wrote my New World Order book. But guys, now it's time to change the current generation. And I wrote 3 kids books. You know I love the Trinity because I understand the power that's in it. So I have 3 books. We have an opportunity to change the generation, to educate, not just me, but I want to show you that I take action on a daily basis. And I want you to take action on a daily basis. Whether it's your job, whether it's in your community, we have an opportunity right now to educate the masses. I posted this on my Twitter account. Please share, but this is a short clip of the 3 books. There's going to be a clothing line and action figures. Please get these books for your kids, nephews, cousins, friends, so therefore we can start the re-education now. Because as we see, the 4th Industrial Revolution foundation is definitely here. Robots, algorithms, drones, taking humanity out the picture. We have to re-educate. But let's get into the video.
Part 1. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save the village. Part 2. King Joshua and Grandma Tam save New York. COVID-33. Part 3. King Joshua and Grandma Tam goes to China.
It's mandatory to get part 1, part 2, and part 3 of this series. It's time to re-educate Generation Z.